Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bill. It's great to see so many friends and see my old picture with black hair and without glasses. A year does a lot to you. Don't get old. As a former member of the ARB, proud alum, former senator from Southeast LA and Long Beach, I focus much of my attention on the air quality issues around the California ports. My excitement about Project 800 is a personal one for me. As many of you know, I grew up in Southeast LA, close to the ports, with vast fleets of trucks moving goods back and forth. And, often used to play because we had no park space in our streets and had to move aside for the massive container trucks passing through our neighborhoods. And when we couldn't, play in the streets, we played by the rail yards, by Commerce, which again, helps move goods from the ports to each of the transit centers around the country. And the 710 corridor, as we know, is one of the most important transportation routes in the country, with the ports of LA and Long Beach handling approximately 40% of all inbound containers for the entire US. The goods that move through those ports touch every single congressional district in the country. And that is the reality, and it is an important economic engine for us as a state and a country, but also brings major environmental challenges for the families like mine that still live in these communities. And so in 2014, I sponsored this bill that really sets up the structure for clean truck incentives, engaging with businesses to transition truck fleets from diesel to electric. And the Clean Truck Bill really envisioned the emergence of these new zero emission technologies, like the ones we are now able to deploy in Project 800. Back in 2014, these technologies did not exist for big rigs. And so yet establishing the right market signals, providing record funding, which I'm proud to say we fought so hard for, got us to a place where we are today, where these technologies are here. We've proven that our incentive programs can lead to solutions and that arrive, I say, that would help folks in the future and really help us meet these critical goals that we're trying to meet. And now we get to discuss and really focus on what the next challenges are, which is a great place that we can be at as Californians. We have now the technology. We know that this can be done. What innovative incentive models can we prioritize now in the future to further expand zero emission technologies are questions that we are asking ourselves now. How do we improve incentives for zero emission delivery trucks, delivering food for our restaurants, homes, and grocery stores? Now as insurance commissioner, and I always joke around about, what does it mean to have an environmentalist as your insurance commissioner now? Well, not only did we create the first of its kind, climate division within the Department of Insurance and elevated staff to Deputy Commissioner of Climate and Sustainability, now we are focusing on how zero emission technologies are insured, how policies can make this insurance more accessible and affordable for these fleets, and how do we continue to do the appropriate risk management so that we understand these technologies, we understand the equipment that is needed, and how do we appropriately assess a cost to that to be able to send those appropriate signals to the insurance industry about how appropriately and accurately we reflect that risk, and how do we protect these technologies, more importantly, so that we not only combat climate change, but we also continue to protect and invest in these technologies through these financial instruments like the insurance industry. These are just some of the next questions as we continue to send those signals to the rest of the world and the country that in California, we're not moving backwards, we're moving forward. And I'm glad that now we have an administration that is putting us back in the climate, the Paris Climate Accord, Quite frankly, it's been tough for us here in California to be the sole leaders of our country in this movement. We know that if we're going to continue to move forward, we need all hands on deck. So although we were proud to carry the majority of the weight, we need some more help now. And I'm glad, help is coming, and we've already seen how far we can get just in a day and a half. So I'm really excited about the future. The ARB really has built this critical foundation of providing a blueprint for further incentives to accelerate our transition to cleaner fuels and cleaner vehicles. I want to take a moment to just briefly talk about the focus of Project 800. Drayage trucks are unique among truck types, being concentrated in specific areas, also concentrating the impacts on local air quality in the surrounding communities, which we know that drayage trucks tend to do. Pollution from these drayage trucks, including particulate matter, black carbon, they're quiet but significantly much more deadly and harm the lungs and hearts of folks living, working, and going to school near ports and these transportation corridors. Communities surrounding these areas suffer from higher risk of premature death, cancer, respiratory, and cardiovascular disease. And, of course, we can't forget the impacts of learning, memory, and of course, behavior. Children in these communities are particularly vulnerable. They have higher risk for lung damage, respiratory infections, and asthma, which we know are only, exacerbated with this pandemic. And the racial inequality components that go along with getting these communities, again, that have been disproportionately impacted by air pollution. Again, we're seeing that devastating effect to those communities, similar to the ones that I grew up in. Traffic-related nitrogen dioxide pollution has been linked to 50% of childhood asthma cases in LA County. I saw these health impacts up close, as I said earlier, as the senator who represented these parts of Southeast LA and Long Beach, along with the ports, precisely the communities most directly harmed by diesel emissions. The accomplishments of this project are critical, I believe, really in two major reasons. First, 800 new zero-emission drayage trucks demonstrate our power to transition quickly to zero-emission trucks as existing drayage trucks phase out and are replaced with electric trucks. Under our governor's recent executive order, we know that by 2035, 10% of these drayage trucks sold in California must be electric. And the deployment of these electric trucks really validates that we are building a path towards meeting that commitment. As more trucks continue to transition to electric, we will see significant reductions in greenhouse gas and pollutant emissions. Second, the clear success of this program really illustrates the power of incentive modeling to encourage climate smart behaviors. It's imperative that we continue to partner with business, not only use that stick approach, but the carrot, so that we, get that important buy-in, which is critical, like no other state, by the way, can do, like the great state of California. But, again, we have an opportunity to create even more robust incentive programs, in my opinion, that reach owner-operators and even smaller companies to get them to buy into these technologies. And again, demonstrate that these technologies are accessible to them and critical to their development as a small business owner. If they want to continue to succeed and grow their business, hire more people, we need to invest in these technologies, but we also need to give them the appropriate incentives to do so. Imagine all the delivery trucks transporting food to restaurants, grocery stores, and our homes, the trucks that operate not just in our ports, but along long-distance trucks, for example, and trucks that make deliveries in our neighborhoods and communities. These are, I think, really the next layer of the transition that we need to address. And, Project 800 is proof of the concept that we can provide those incentives, that diversity of our truck fleets, and really not only the diversity of our truck fleets, but also bring zero-emission technologies to all communities, and to the different roles that trucks play in our economy, in our communities. I'm proud to be part of this initiative, I should say, since its inception. it's really been a full circle for me, from playing in, on those streets, getting out of the way of those big container trucks that would just line up on my block, on Bonnie Beach Place in East Los Angeles, because the heavy traffic, to now being able to have precisely advocated for the creation of this program, authored the bill, and advocated for record funding. That is the beauty of our legislature, the beauty of the American dream, being able to use our real life experiences to make positive change for years to come. And I would be remiss to say that, I didn't do this on my own. The amazing ARB staff who helped guide me through this process, help understand and educate me on our global responsibility as well as acting locally. And this is a perfect example of how, we act locally, we use resources to really impact those communities, and really determine for years the future of so many kids that may not have the opportunities that I had, and really implement these programs and guide our state forward towards our air quality goals, our collective, clean truck incentives, really strengthen the trucking industry, our frontline communities, and our planet, and creates jobs. None of these are mutually exclusive. We've proven that we can, decarbonize our economy, continue to invest in these resources, and still be successfully financially. Let's continue to democratize these policies, continue to ensure that those communities that are disproportionately affected continue to receive the funding that they need, so that we can all work towards a better California, a cleaner California. And so again, thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing what next steps we have to do. And, I'm just excited for the future now more than ever, and look forward to continuing to work with all of you. Thank you for the work you're doing to protect communities around the country and our state.